What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Chad's Beer Reviews. Continuing with the BJCP style guidelines, we're on 2B International Amber Lager, and what better example than I can think of than Yuengling Traditional Lager. Love that color on there. It looks red on camera, but it's really more of like a copper. But I guess it's in the wrong hand. All right, so if you're playing the home game, we are on page 17 of the BJCP style guidelines PDF. Overall impression: a well attenuated malty amber lager with an interesting caramel or toast quality and restrained bitterness, usually fairly well attenuated, often with the adjunct quality, smooth, easily drinkable lager character. So let's get started right away. So we got my Yuengling in here, big 24-ounce can, only $2.50 at the gas station. Well, I mean, it smells like pretty much any other lager. I'm just getting a lot of general base malt in here. There is like a little bit of a distinctiveness than like a traditional pale lager. I don't believe Yuengling uses food coloring to get this reddish copper color. A lot of the macro breweries do that. They just throw like food coloring or like some kind of syrup or something in there, but so it's a little it's definitely malty for a lager, but not like a doppelbock kind of malty, anything like that. A little bit of a definitely a little bit of like a corn kind of smell, like kind of like not super sweet like the Coors Light. This is just more of, and certainly not like, you know, canned cook corn or anything like that. It's just like just smells like corn. So it's not bad. All right, let's check the specs for aroma. Low to moderate malt aroma. I agree with that. Probably say somewhere between low and moderate, which can be grainy with a very low to moderate caramel sweet to toasty malty aroma. Low caramel sweet, I guess I would say. I would not call this toasty. No, really not toasty at all. Hop aroma can range from low to none with a mildly floral or spicy character. Yeah, I really don't get much hops. Maybe floral, earthy background there. Very, very, very low. Clean lager profile. I agree with that. A slight DMS or corny aroma is acceptable. So it's pretty much right there for the specs. Um, I think I'm gonna go 9 out of 12, maybe even 8. We'll come back to that. Appearance. Got my trusty BJCP color guide card here. This is about a 9. Again, it looks red on camera. It's more of like a copper amber color. Definitely, yeah, I'd say it's between like 9 and 12 or so. 8 and 12. Let's see what the specs say for appearance. Golden amber to reddish copper color, bright clarity, white to off-white foam stand, which may not last. Well, that's not the opposite of, or that is the opposite. This okay, SRM 7 of 14, so it's within the specs there. Reddish copper color, definitely bright clarity. Yeah, that's the problem with doing these beer reviews in Florida. The glass always condensates up real quick, but yeah, it is very clear, and it did have a good 3-finger head on there, and it's sticking around so far. So yeah, so far so good. So I'm gonna go 3 out of 3 on appearance there. It's definitely within the range. All right, flavor. Well, I guess we'll find out. Cheers. Well, same thing with the aroma. I mean, I said it had like a little bit more malt than your average American, pale adjunct lager. Same thing with the taste. A little bit more malt to make it like a little bit more sweet, like a tiny little bit of a like caramel kind of taste in there. Some kind of I mean, I wouldn't say confectionery sweetness like a brown ale or anything like that. Just I would just call it like sweet for a lager. No, not like super sweet, but just sweeter than your average pale adjunct lager. Certainly, very very faint, nutty, kind of toasty character. The corn and Yingling, I think it's pretty much well known that it's an adjunct lager. It's not all malt. Um, There is definitely a corn taste in there, but it's not. If you ever had like a homebrew with DMS in it, or it's really nasty, and this is not like that. I really don't get much in the way of hops. I mean, there's just like a faint, earthy, spicy kind of flavor in there. Very low bitterness. So it's not all that different from the pale adjunct lager. So let's see what the specs say for flavor. Low to moderate malt profile, which can vary from dry to grainy sweet. I think it's somewhere in between there. It's certainly not dry, and there is some sweetness, but it's not super sweet. Low to moderate levels of caramel and toasty bready notes can be evident. Yeah, sort of, maybe. Low to medium low corny sweetness is optional, but not a fault. I agree with that. There's definitely some corny. It's not super sweet, but it's like more of like a corn flavor than a corn sweetness. Hop bitterness is low to moderate, and hop flavor is low to moderate with a spicy herbal or floral character. So, check right there. The balance can be fairly malty to nearly even, with the bitterness becoming more noticeable but not objectionable. I would say it's a little bit more malty than. It's definitely more malty than hoppy. Hops are pretty low on here. Bitterness level can increase if the malt character increases to match. Clean fermentation profile. I agree with that. No acetaldehyde, no diacetyl, certain no DMS. Finish is moderately dry with a moderately malty aftertaste. I agree with all that. So, I mean, for the style, again, it's supposed to be a lot like your category ones. They're all kind of mild, plain beers, and this has that going for it. So, how am I going to score this? I think I scored this about a 16. Definitely everything's there, but it's not really exciting. The style's not really supposed to be exciting. I think the difference between this and the actual style guidelines is like they mention like more of a malt, specialty characteristics like caramel and toasty bready notes. I really don't get that, but everything else that's supposed to be there is there. All right, so let's move on to mouthfeel. Light to medium body. I agree with that. It's somewhere in between light and medium. Medium to high carbonation. I agreed. It's not super champagne carbonation, but certainly not flat or anything. Smooth. I agree with that. Some examples can be creamy. I wouldn't go so far as to say that it has a creamy texture, but it's definitely very smooth. It's refreshing while it's in the mouth. Leaves a little bit of a malty aftertaste, but it's really easily tolerable. It's right there for the mouthfeel. I would say, I'll say at least a 4 out of 5. I'll score 40 out of 50, 8 out of 10 for me. For my personal preference, it kind of depends by mood, the day, the season. Some days I really like this beer. Some days I'm just like totally sick of it. But I don't know if you know this, but they actually have a satellite brewery in Tampa, which is about 40 miles down the road that way. And so, nice thing about Yuengling here is that you can always get it fresh, and it's pretty cheap, $2.50 for this, nice tall boy can. So yeah, if I find a regular BMC bar, and I got Yuengling, I'll definitely get the Yuengling over the BMC. But there's a huge flavor. It's not especially complex, but certainly more interesting and tasty than your average BMC or similar types of beers. All right, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
Somebody brewed it, Chad just reviewed it. Thanks for watching Chad's Beer Reviews. Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.